So we wrote down, we had the same figures. We wrote down 6 under that and drew a line. Now he said, make all the racket you want. Make all the noise you want and figure it out, and I will tell you what your sum is. So we started, just get started, and he says 1,602,403. So we figured it out, and it was right. Then he said, ask me any time within 1 year, and I will name you that sum. So I said, well, that's fine. He says, that's nothing. He says, I multiplied 60 digits times 60 at Columbia University and in England. 60 digits, imagine, 60 figures, a whole row of them, times 60, mentally. So they got out their adding machines and they got going, and they said, oh, you made a mistake. He says, no, you have made the mistake. And when they got all through, they found that he was right, and they had made their mistake in manipulating those adding machines. Imagine it, 60 times 60. I said, how do you do it? I said, does it seem like a blackboard? He says, that's it. He says, I have a big blackboard, and I just put the figures down, and I multiply them there. And I can do it faster than you can do on the pencil, in the paper. So there's concentration, isn't it? Well, perhaps we all cannot multiply 60 times 60. He said, I can teach you to do it. I said, I don't think you can. That's too much. That's beyond me. But at least it was interesting to see the powers of God, which are sometimes developed in His children. So remember, the second point is concentration itself. Very important. First is what? Right effort. To do the right thing. Father, I am willing to work, but guide me to do the right thing. Then when He tells you what to do, get busy and do it through your concentration. That leads us to the third and final point, which is that we must apply steady will. Steady will. That's very important. Some people have an explosive will. They say, let's go. Now suddenly they peter out. Yeah. You've got to carry it through. Carry it through to the end. You've seen the people in SRF, there are lots of them. Boy, this is it. Next time they're way down. Why? Because they haven't applied steady will. Steady will, also full will. And this is the important point. Full will must be applied for success. Full will. Steady will, steady, full will. Now that point is this. Hindu psychologists say that the will must be used completely, or the whole will must be used in concentration. Do you understand? Now, an ordinary human activity, where there are different phases, conflicting ideas, and so forth, the will used is what? The will used is that of ego consciousness. Do you understand? In ordinary activities, we're using the ego. We're using the ego, or the will incited by ego consciousness. Now, that is not the full will, is it? Yet, on the other hand, Professor James says this. Most wonderfully, he says, by methodical, ascetic discipline, the full will can be used completely. Completely used, completely integrated, as the Hindu psychologists say. The will must completely be integrated, used as a whole. That's what I'm trying to point out. Now, in ego consciousness, you do not use it as a whole, because ego is not the whole. But in methodical ascetic discipline, the whole will can be used. That's an important point for us. Why? What is methodic ascetic discipline? What is it? You're going to be surprised when I tell you what it is. It's living SRF yoga. That's what it is. And if you live SRF yoga, you will apply that methodical, ascetic discipline. Now, what's the result? The use of the will in full. Now, what is full will? Your will coupled to God's will. Now, there's your answer to complete concentration. Full concentration. Right effort. Concentration itself plus full will, which comes not by ego, but by coupling your will with God in you. Then the will is used completely. You see now why success comes by real concentration, full concentration. And in conclusion, I just want to say this, that if we will realize the first thing to do with our concentration is what? Is to apply it on contacting God. That's the important thing. Use your concentration first in making friends with God within, being one with Him, feeling His presence as the holy vibration within you. You have the techniques in self-realization to do it. You have the Om technique, which will give you contact with God in you as the holy vibration, with the light of the holy vibration, the cosmic sound, and the love of God in your heart. Isn't that the first thing to apply your concentration for? If you're going to succeed, know God. Then you will have His unfailing guidance. He cannot fail you. He will not fail you. Finally, when you have His supreme will coupled with your will, you must succeed. And that's why Jesus said, He might have said in words, apply your concentration first in knowing God, but He said, seek first the kingdom of God, and all other things shall be added unto you. Seek first God communion, companionship with God, and all other things, including every success, will be yours.
In order to profit from these practical teachings in a meaningful way, which will have a definite and tangible impact in your life, we suggest that you subscribe to the Self-Realization Fellowship's home study course on the science of yoga. Please visit the SRF on the web at yogananda-srf.org or call the SRF's Mother Center in Los Angeles, California at 323-225-2471.